So I'll go ahead and get us started and get us rolling today. We've got a pretty great agenda ahead of us, and we will go ahead and start rolling. So we got just a few slides to get started. Of course, many of you probably already know our mission and our vision, but here they are for those of you joining us for the first time. Of course, our mission is to facilitate collaboration, hence why we're all here, among organizations and initiatives working to bridge the digital divide in order to maximize the resources for greatest impact. Our steering council is comprised of these three individuals. I lost my screen. Okay, we do have a couple of you on today, or at least Aaron. Looks like Aaron is here, but Ina P. Montgomery of Urban Tech, Carrie Coogan of the Kansas City Public Library should be here shortly, and then Aaron Deacon of KC Digital Drive. And of course, beyond these monthly meetings and then the follow-up newsletter that we send out the following week, there are a few other ways you can stay connected with us and the work that we're doing in any sort of general digital inclusion news and announcements. Here are those channels for you. And then let's hop over to our agenda. So we went ahead and added new members and first-time attendees. I unfortunately get ahead of myself a lot of times and skip over this section, but it's very important. We need to recognize those who are joining us for the first time and, maybe some new members. So I'd like to pause for a moment and see if anyone is here joining us for the first time today. You are, would you please just, tell us your name and, just a few remarks about your organization and the work that you do. Is anyone here for the first time?
Hi, it's Kelly Herman. I'll jump in. I like to volunteer. My name's Kelly Herman. I work for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. I've never been here before, and I work in the Office of Environmental Quality. I'm a sustainable community coordinator, and I'm dropping some things in the chat because I'll be talking about Speakeasy today, and really happy to be here. This is a really well-attended meeting. How exciting. Thank you.
And hi, this is Jerry Buckman, and if I may add, I invited Kelly to speak to the group of regarding Speakeasy, and yes, thank you, Kelly, for joining us. And we're also expecting Heather Frierson, from who is the city's emergency communications coordinator, to talk about Alert KC. So she should be joining us shortly as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Kelly and Jerry. And yeah, we're very excited and grateful you could join us today. Anyone else here for the first time? Yeah, I recognize most of you. All right. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and keep moving forward. Next up on our agenda, we'd like to hear from Tom Esselman of DEPO-KC, and he'll just be providing us some updates on the work that he is doing. Let me stop sharing my screen and hand it over to you, Tom.
Thanks, Wendy. Hi, everybody. Tom Esselman, DEPO-KC. It's the Digital Equity Program Office of Greater Kansas City, and I have been working for the last year now, just trying to increase awareness of different grant opportunities in anticipation of the federal grants. As hopefully most of you know, those federal grants are at best on pause. So we're hoping that the grants from the federal government that have been committed will actually be implemented, but we don't know yet. And we're hopefully going to hear from both the state of Kansas and the state of Missouri on the latest updates on that. But in the meantime, there continue to be local and other national grant opportunities. And I just wanted to really quickly make you aware of some things that have just recently popped up to, give you an opportunity if they do represent opportunities for you to gain some new resources for the work that you're doing, then that's kind of my goal, is just to make sure you're aware and then offer to help in any way possible. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and there's the agenda. The first thing that I want to be able to do is let you know about an individual.
Hey, Tom, we're seeing your
we're not-
email inbox.
Say that again.
We're not seeing your screen, Tom. We see your
Okay.
inbox.
Okay. Right. Okay, hold on. I'll try it again. I seem to have some real interesting results when I do the screen sharing. Okay, let me try this. Okay. Can you see this LinkedIn profile for Phil Jamerson? Okay. Phil, I introduced him very briefly last month's meeting, but he had to attend the funeral, wasn't able to attend. Similarly, today he has another commitment. But the reason I wanted to share this fine gentleman with you is he has been spending, probably over 30 years of his career doing grant writing and support for local community organizations. But right now in particular, he is really going out of his way to help particularly smaller groups, neighborhood associations. I think you all had a chance to meet Pastor Brandon Mims from the Metro Church of Christ last month. And Phil's been working with Brandon and Greater Impact KC. He's worked with me on helping write grants for a new effort going on at a prospective new community center in KCK. So first thing I want to do is make you aware of Phil Jamerson. He's working with me in DEPO-KC, along with some support that we're getting from the Health Forward Foundation, to make sure that any organization that you know of, or at your own organization, if you lack the capacity to understand what's needed for grants, we can help make sure that that doesn't become an obstacle for you gaining vital resources for your nonprofit work. So that's the first thing I wanted to share. The second thing, kind of going to go in reverse order. I hope you all got the word out that T-Mobile has now reopened, entered the grant support field for digital equity, and they have just introduced a new priority focused set of grants supporting digital equity work. I'm just showing you the website associated with this, and there's some key dates that I wanted to make you aware of. You can just go to T-Mobile's website to get these, but March 11th, next week, there's going to be a community information session. You can see the deadline for these grants are not until July 31st, and the awards will be announced in October. But T-Mobile has been, of course, it was Sprint prior to this, but they have always been really strong supporters of our work in digital inclusion. It was great to see that they now have a new grant program opening up. Similarly, but I think on a much smaller scale, and I hope you're continuing to follow along with my tabs. The Unified Government has a grant fund supported by the proceeds coming from the Hollywood Casino, and that just opened a little over a week ago. Smaller scale, typically the awards in the past have ranged from as small as $500 to $24,000. And the categories that they're looking to support have to do with healthcare, but also improving, just overall community benefits. And I wanted to make sure you're aware, don't overlook this grant, even though it's small. I know, going back probably 8 years ago now, at Connecting for Good, we were recipients of one of the Hollywood Casino grants, and it was based on linking digital literacy skills and training in this case, it was a program that monitored your blood pressure. And it was an 8-week program, and you had to learn how to enter your blood pressure in a software program. And as long as you attended the 8-week course, you got a free computer. There was a partner that provided a bicycle. We partnered with Hy-Vee, and they delivered food to residents down in Juniper Gardens and Northeast Wyandotte County, which lacks a really decent grocery store. And so the point is, if you do digital work and you can link it to health outcomes, and even if you don't, if you can just show, as we've talked about for many years, the link between digital skills and digital competency as one of the so-called social determinants of health, you have a good chance to get grant funding from that program. And then the last one is a national program, but I wanted to make you all aware of it. There's a group out of the state of Maryland called Raising the Floor, and they are going in on a big national grant that's designed to expand access to computers and training for individuals with disabilities. I know KC Digital Drive has done a lot of great work with the Missouri Assistive Technology, and I think KC Digital Drive, as well as maybe any of you who do work in this space, Literacy KC perhaps, Jewish Family Services, etc. Even though these dates are incorrect, there was just an information meeting about 3 days ago. They're still looking for partners that can go in on this grant with them, because the whole idea is it's designed to create research results that can be shared on a national basis. So if you're interested, you can see this website, learn more at raisingthefloor.org. And they would like to talk to you about being a national partner on this grant, about generating resources to help with work with people with disabilities. So those are some things I wanted to share, and I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. So before I pass it back to Wendy, I do want to reach out. I'm so excited about this meeting agenda, particularly Jerry Buckman and the guests that he's brought from the city, and the discussions we're going to have about the links between our work in digital inclusion and social and civic engagement. And but I think that the grants that I just shared with you also very much link into driving those outcomes. So I just wanted to see if there are any reactions or questions about the information I just shared, but also in anticipation of the guests that we have with us. And just to make sure that you understand, when I'm sharing this information with you, but it's not just for you and your own organizations, but it's for the purposes of making sure that we as a coalition identify and connect with as many other organizations that we're aware of, to make sure we're filling as many gaps as possible throughout our communities, that people that work in organizations that do rely on affordable internet and devices and training, but they may not realize that they're in a field where they're eligible to receive grant funding. And so I just wanted to put it out there and see if any of you had any questions or additional comments you'd like to make regarding this idea that there are grant funds. No matter what you're reading and hearing about the federal government cracking down on a lot of these things, there are local and regional and other national funds available. So any questions or comments about that?
Thanks, Tom. This is great information. Would you be able to put the links to those web pages you shared in
I
the?
will, Mary Kay. Thanks for bringing that up. And when we move off of my segment, I'll make sure I drop those links in the chat.
Thank you.
And we can also make sure that those are added to the newsletter that goes out after the meeting next week.
That's great. Thanks, Carrie. And please, I see some good comments from Leslie and Leah and others. So make sure you check the comments in the chat.
Thank you very much, Tom. Any other questions or comments or things to add for Tom here? All right. Let me go back to the agenda. So you'll see I skipped over our state broadband office updates. I actually did hear back from Dimitri when I invited him to join us this morning. He informed me he doesn't really have any updates at this time since he spoke with us last month. So you know, he's not here today. And I didn't hear back from Kimberlyn. I don't see that she's on. So check one more time. Kimberlyn? Nope. Okay.
Wendy,
And
Wendy,
yep,
Leslie's hand, Leslie has her hand.
speaking. Leslie's hand is up. Leslie, what have you got?
Well, I just wanted to offer what I do know from the KOBD perspective.
you.
I participated in the grant review for the doc grant. So those reviews are all complete, and I think they're in their final selection process there. And then I think we included it in our newsletter, but the adopt Wi-Fi projects are out there available for public comment, as well as you can see the proposals for the device option for that grant program. So encourage people to go out and take a look. If you have comments about the Wi-Fi projects, they are definitely looking for them.
Thank you for that. All right. I don't know what happened to my agenda here, but it's looking a little bit wonky, so bear with me. With that, we can go ahead and move on then to our feature presentation. We've got a wonderful group of presenters for you today, and our focus is on civic and social engagement. And we went through and tried to kind of plan these meetings out based on the targeted populations and the goals put forth in NTIA's Digital Equity Competitive Grant Program. So that is why we are focusing on these topics that we are each month. And this month we've got a great collection of speakers, including Greg Woodhams from the League of Women Voters in Kansas City, Jackson-Platte-Clay counties, Sharon Sanders Brooks, right here from our own Kansas City Public Library, Gerard McConaughey from the Department of Emergency Services in Johnson County, and then Jerry Buckman and Kelly and one other person from the city of Kansas City, Missouri. So with that, let's go ahead and welcome our first speaker. Greg, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I will stop sharing my screen, so you should be good to go.
Okay, so can everybody give a thumbs up if you can hear me?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Now I'm going to try to share my screen. And here we go. And now give me a thumbs up if you can see swimming across the digital divide. And let's try one more thing. And did we move the screen there? Thumbs up. Okay, great. So, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm Greg Woodhams, the Voter Education Chair of the League of Women Voters of Kansas City. And the question I want to bring here is getting access to the web enough? If I take what I've understood over the years to have been the digital divide, it's pretty much the way Wikipedia has described it. And I quote, "The digital divide is the unequal access to digital technology, including smartphones, tablets, laptops, and the internet." So the analogy you could use here would be that the internet would be a swimming pool with the disadvantage fenced out of a beautiful swimming pool. And success would be removing the barriers to online access. And in this analogy, removing that fence that keeps some of us out of the pool. And you just need to get in. And in an ideal world, we all have access and everybody's happy and in the pool. So where does the League of Women Voters fit into this? Our mission is to give voters the tools they need to make an informed decision and confidently exercise their right to vote. But we are finding that voters are running into challenges they didn't have 20 years ago. Now you have an abundance of information, and in fact, more information than people can process. In addition, the quality of that information has deteriorated with the decline of traditional media that had standards and the rise of social media, where most people are getting their news these days, that often has no standards. And there's also misinformation and disinformation. All of this implies that, in our opinion, just getting on the web isn't enough, and voters need the tools to navigate a torrent of information. So going back to our analogy, maybe the waters aren't clear like a swimming pool. Maybe it's more like the Gulf of Mexico where, the water's warm, it's fun, but it's not clear. And you've got dangerous currents, you got sharks, you got jellyfish. And if you're going to have fun in the Gulf of Mexico, you need skills. You need to know how to swim. You need to know what a rip current is. You need to be able to spot a jellyfish or a shark. And moving back from our analogy, it's not enough just to get access. You need to know how to navigate the information on a web and all of that crazy stuff that's there. So late in the 2024 election season, we at the League of Women Voters, we developed some materials originally meant for college students at a local university, and we called it Be a Smarter Voter. And we wanted to give student voters the skills needed to navigate the web for information they needed to vote. And those materials are now on the voter education page, it's in the public page of our League of Women Voters website. And we are now expanding our effort, and we will be launching our second generation of these materials this year. At a high level, our objectives are to make sure that voters are making decisions based on valid information. And what we want to do is show voters how to navigate information and fact check. And when I say a fact check, teach voters how to fact check quickly. Our goal is that they should be able to do that in less than 5 minutes. Now, all of this is in a very challenging context because there's an abundance of misinformation, which is often computer generated. Facebook and Twitter, which is now X, they no longer use fact checkers, and that they actually propagate this information. And then the other thing is social media algorithms create echo chambers, which we'll talk about later. So how are we doing this effort? What are our sources? We found that public and university libraries have shown excellent leadership in this effort. And we found that the curriculum associated with Mike Caulfield and Sam Weinberg of the Stanford Education Group, as well as MediaWise and Pointer, being the most comprehensive and compelling. And we're trying to give voters a toolbox, often in the form of questions that they should ask. They should ask, well, how am I going to investigate this source? They should ask, who's the source? What's the source's expertise? And what does the web say about the source? If somebody makes a claim on the internet, they should ask, what are others saying about the claim? And then they should learn to get better sources of information by using fact-checking websites and, importantly, developing trusted sources of information. One other skill in the toolbox is needing to understand how social media algorithms create news feeds. Voters need to understand echo chambers and how social media can be a factor in polarization. So questions to ask. Do you really only want to hear news that confirms your beliefs? And shouldn't you hear opposing arguments? Moving forward over the next several months, we will update and expand our online training media. Then we're going to begin to have small in-person sessions that feature guided practice, where practical guidance is given on what keystrokes are needed, and participants gain confidence by talking about how they fact check. And then after that, we'll broaden the groups we'll work with. Again, it's early days. So in closing, when we finish any presentation to the public, we always say, thank you for taking the time to become an informed voter. And that's what we want to do here. We want to teach voters how to navigate the web to be informed. and we can help by giving them a toolbox. So that's my presentation, and thanks for your time. And I'll stop. Well, should I keep my screen up? I'll stop my share.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Greg. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question for Greg. Hi, Greg. This is Tom. We were just talking about grants in support of individuals with disabilities. And I'm just wondering to what extent you find in your work with the League of Women Voters that you're offering these toolkits for people that just don't have the typical normal avenue to access them, or might need some kind of special devices or other special considerations. Do you tend to run into that? And if so, kind of how do you find assistance for them?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. The key to success there is for us to liaise with those organizations that are focused on that 24/7. And I know that we do that in terms of everything that relates to how people go out and vote. And I'm glad you raised the question, because we need to incorporate that element into this curriculum. And if you'll recall when I made the presentation, one of the things that we are focusing on here is what are the right keystrokes? Just the actual, this is very tactile, this is very mechanical. And I think we should be able to do that with voice command, because everything, I know that every one of the steps we do, you should be able to do with a voice command. But I'm glad you raised that question.
Well, and it's also a little bit self-centered to this organization that you're working with right now, the Coalition for Digital Inclusion. I mean, we've been working for over 10 years in this space to do precisely what you were just saying, to make organizations aware of other entities with other specialties. I know I already mentioned Kansas City Digital Drive. They do a significant amount of work with the state of Missouri Assistive Technology. There are other organizations that are regularly on this call each month, and we just think what you just shared, it kind of creates a kind of a poster child message for why we get together each month, to make sure that we're aware of each other and the different types of resources that we can bring to bear to help each other out in doing this work. So thanks for sharing what you all do. And you're going to hear a lot more when Jerry Buckman and some of the City of Kansas City, Missouri folks talk as well, because the city has really upped its commitment to helping anybody who has any kind of circumstances that prevent them from accessing digital tools. The city is positioning itself similar to what Kansas City Digital Drive is doing, as a great connector, along with, of course, Wendy and the library, who have been hosting these meetings for 8 or 9 years now. So anyway, thanks for sharing that, and for making such a great point about why we get together to share with each other.
Much appreciated.
I would just like to add too, I really appreciated the shout out to public libraries and university libraries. It is tricky to navigate information, even when we are getting our information from sometimes what we consider trusted media outlets, even that information can be very biased and not factual. And so, it's really tricky to navigate these information flows, even as someone who is digitally literate and skilled. And so, with our tech access program and even some of the work that Sharon Sanders Brooks is doing at the library, we facilitate those interactions and help people get connected as best we can to, the facts, so that they can make informed decisions like you were explaining. It's overwhelming. It is.
Yeah, but I'm going to double down on that, because, when we started this effort, we looked around and said, well, who's doing good work on this? Hands down, the libraries, librarians really were well ahead of it. And in fact, This is a library. The book verifies an excellent book on this, but the authors, they got involved in this. The authors are a couple of academics because a librarian gave them a heads up on the problem. And that's how this all started. So hats off to the librarians.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments for Greg? All right. Thank you very much for your time and for your presentation today, Greg.
You're welcome.
Wendy,
Next.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
jump in
go
on one
ahead.
more thing. I noticed
Sure.
that Pedro Zamora from the HEDC is on the call, and I hate to put you on the spot, Pedro, but I know that the Hispanic community throughout the Kansas City region often relies on the work that you all do, as well as other organizations, when it comes to what Greg was just sharing with us about voter information and things that maybe Spanish-speaking residents have trouble just understanding with just the normal media outlets and things like that. So I didn't know, Pedro, if you wanted to jump in with any insights or connections relative to voter information throughout the Hispanic community. Sorry, I thought maybe somebody might be signed into the meeting under Pedro's name, but I just know how much the HEDC and other organizations in the Hispanic community do similar work
I
to what
can
Greg was
answer
saying.
that question.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey,
Yeah,
hi, Gabriel.
How are you?
Good.
During the last, always working with our community to encourage the people to be involved in politics is a challenge. Always is a challenge, but we thank you to Tico. Tico is a company that promote the Latino sport in the area. We have been in the last election promoting the participation and promoting the vote. And in our classes, always we encourage the people that we are learning to use technology to empowerment, to improve the participation in public space, to know how to participate in local decision. That is one thing that I always emphasize in my classes, that technology is fundamental for the new ways of participation and to use those tools to speak out and to speak about the community problems. But yes, but always is a challenge, especially because it's a community under attack and everybody is very careful to open their mouths and everybody is careful about what they have to say, identify the names, and but we are dealing with that.
Thank you, Gabriel. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our next presenter. Sharon, I wanted to check in and make sure she and we were trying to troubleshoot some technical issues. I was joking with her that it wouldn't be a coalition meeting if we didn't have some kind of technical issues along the way. But I see that you're on here, Sharon. Just wanted to make sure that you are up and running and ready to go.
I am.
Excellent.
Our wonderful IT department came to the rescue.
Wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that. And I've got your slides here ready. Can everybody see the slideshow? Excellent. All right. And the floor is yours.
Can everyone hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. All right. Good morning. It's my pleasure to join you. A little bit about me. I serve as the Civic Engagement Specialist for the Kansas City Library. I'm also an Kansas City election judge, and I'm a former elected official. I served on the Kansas City, Missouri City Council, as well as in the Missouri General Assembly. So this is my love, civic engagement. The technology aspect of it is a little something different. However, I will briefly describe my roles. I work one-on-one with patrons and and organizations. Greg, we partnered with and held several League of Women Voter joint library get out the vote information sessions for the last election, and look forward to working with them in the future. But the library is also willing to work. My work is nonpartisan, so I'm willing to work with entities that do voter education, not candidates, but voter information and education is what we do. I plan and coordinate programming across the Kansas City Library system. And I stated, I partner to bring services to the library and to take services to the community. What I want people to be clear is the Kansas City Public Library, we work beyond the walls of the branches of the libraries, and we're very happy to engage out in the community. We provide nonpartisan information and resources. We conduct voter registration. Voter registration is available at all of the Kansas City branches. We help individuals update their voting address, and that is a key thing. Oftentimes, we find people register to vote, but they move and they never think about updating their address with the Board of Elections. They will update their address with the Postal Service, but not the Board of Elections. And if information is returned to the Board of Elections from a voter several times, then that can lead to their name being removed from the rolls. So it's really important that individuals update their voting address, as well as name changes, and that is critical. We are on the library website under voting. I've added new information. So now individuals can click on under the voting tab and go. We will now offer individuals. So individuals, if they are ex-offenders and or are incarcerated, we explain, we have information with sources and links to the Kansas City Election Board, and make so the patron can be aware of their right to vote in the state of Missouri. If a person has completed probation and parole, they regain the right to vote. If a person is currently in jail but has not been convicted, they too retain their right to vote. They would vote by absentee ballot, and many people are not aware of that. We provide information regarding local ballot measures, and we answer civic engagement questions. You'll see the tab on the library website under Learn. See the arrow on the Learn, and as you go down, you will see voter information. And that is where you will find the information also under the other tab that says civic engagement. And lastly, under legal, because the library is now partnering with the UMKC School of Law, the Kansas City Public Defender's Office, and the Jackson County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, we are now partnering to sponsor what are called tap-in center hours at the Bluford Library. And at those tap-in center clinics, we assist the public with taking care of warrants that they have. So that is a new service, and there is a flyer in this presentation where you can get more information. The next slide, your rights as a voter. I have added, since I've joined the library, this page is new, explaining individuals' rights as a voter. And what I wanted to be sure that patrons were aware, as we talk about bilingual, that individuals have a right to request a bilingual poll worker and assistance at the polls. We have a tab. The individuals, if they have, it's called encountered an issue while voting, find assistance. That is a new tab that has been added, and I have provided resources. So if people feel, number one, that they have been intimidated and prevented from voting, it will have the resources there, the organizations that they can contact, and the federal and state entities that can assist them. We also have information where individuals can register to vote online. They just click on the link and they're able to they're able to register to vote online. I did have someone call me and said, "Did you say we can vote online?" No, that's individuals now have the ability to register to vote online. Okay, next slide, please. And we have this a resource page. Um, which contains information on voting. Oh, another new category that I made sure that has been added to the library. We're letting patrons know we have many unhoused individuals, and unhoused individuals do maintain their right to vote. And certain individuals, they can use a homeless shelter, or they can use an address of someone that is given permission where they can receive mail. And we let people become aware that they do maintain their right to vote as an unhoused person. I added a new information about the military because we've heard, and I've done research, we find that our active duty military, believe it or not, sadly, they have a low voter participation rate. So we wanted to make sure that individuals that are at active duty and U.S. citizens overseas, we had information and links on where they could get information and how they could vote, because the military and those individuals overseas have a much early voter registration and voting deadline than others. And a new tab we also added is disability voter information. So if a patron clicks on that tab, there will be various local as well as state information that can assist a disabled voter as in their quest to cast their ballot. Here is the sample ballot that is now will be on the library's page. It's the sample ballot for the upcoming school and special election on April the 8th. And even though it's on our library website under another tab, we also have it spelled out clearly how they can contact their federal elected officials. And for some reason, that tends to be a very popular activity lately. So there's the website and the telephone number for both the House of Representatives and for the U.S. Senate, and the telephone number for the Capitol switchboard where they can call and ask directly, and they'll be connected with their elected officials. Lastly, I mentioned the Tap-In Center. This is the flyer showing the dates. They're the next one will be March the 12th. They're from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Lucille Bluford Library, where the library, in partnership with our partners, who are providing free attorneys to assist individuals in their issues regarding warrants in the city of Kansas City, Missouri. And if anyone has additional questions, my email and my telephone number are on the screen. I'd be happy to come out to present to organizations if they would like a presentation on the resources and what the library can assist them with as members of the public. So I'm open to questions if there are any.
Hi, Sharon. This is Tom.
Hi, Tom.
I am so thrilled with the information you provided. And of course, we all that have been working in the space for years know what an important role the library has been playing in helping to inform and educate residents throughout the region. But in particular, I wanted to call out two other participants in this call to see if I could get their comments relative to the information you just just shared. And one of them has been a longtime participant in this coalition. That's Ike Graham, who represents the Vineyard Neighborhood Association. And
I know Mr.
Ike,
Graham.
yep, you've just done a great job with residents throughout your area. And I want to definitely hear from you. But I realized earlier when I was doing my little spiel, I neglected to call out one new attendee of this meeting, and that's Miss D. Hart from the Holmes Garden Neighborhood Association, which, a lot of us, we tend to focus on things that are happening right in the middle of the urban core, and it's oftentimes overlooked. The parts of South Kansas City that deal with a lot of issues, sometimes difficulty in getting the attention they need from the city and state government. So, Miss D, if you're out there and you care to just say hello and make sure everyone knows who you are and the great work you're doing in the Holmes Garden Neighborhood Association. But I'd love to hear from both you and Ike in particular about the challenges and the maybe successes you've had working with residents about voter information and registration and the kinds of things that Sharon was just sharing with us. Are you out there, Denise? Can you say hello?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me in your office and your space.
It's great to see you, Denise. I'd love for you to just give a quick overview of the Holmes Garden Neighborhood Association and the work you've had to do with government to get the attention you need, and in particular, how it relates to the getting information about civic and social engagement, through the cities and the work that we do with the libraries and other institutions, in and around the city.
So I had to start to go to a lot of meetings. We had a lot of issues in our neighborhood, and we are a part of another neighborhood organization, but they was not active. So she told me to branch out, and so that's what I did. I knew nothing of what to do, so I had to take some courses. I went to Center for Neighborhood Courses. I did the community engagement university, and then did the health department community engagement ambassador. So I had to learn to go to all these different chains to find out what it is that I need to do to become a successful leader. I had to go to meetings, I had to talk, and then there was a lot of information that was out there that I did not know existed. And I was so grateful that everybody is willing to share, because it's kind of hard to get information from people who are what they call, I'm learning these terminologies of not grass keeping, ghost, what do they call it? Ghost lighting or ghost
Gaslighting.
gaslighting. There it is. I do. And it was so hard to try to get information through those types of people. So finding the organizations to not only to help your neighborhood, also to guide you. And that has been such a great help. I am so grateful of Health Forward Foundation. Oh my God, they have saved my life. Community Capital Funds, they have saved my life. The health department has saved my life, saved the community. I am just so excited about this program and everything that you have to offer. Please keep sharing, because everything you give to me, I share with my neighborhood. You should come out to my neighborhood at 9543 Charlotte. We're on the website, Holmes Garden Neighborhood Association. That is my phone number that is on the website. Call me. I will meet you here. I'm like 8 houses down from our community center. We've had the 6th district out here. They're going to try to help with the speed bumps, the lightings. We don't have any sidewalks. The kids is walking in the middle of the streets to get to places. We don't have any sidewalks, but they're trying to work with that. We had the community engagement, the civic engineer out here, Upton, along with his crew with Parks and Rec. They was out here, and along with Duncan. And so I'm getting contact with a lot of people that can try to help our community. I think people need to get more involved because they're busy. Everything is going on, especially here recently, we talk about. So it's just a lot of things that I'm excited about we're being here for like 2.5 years. And during that first year, we suffered a lot of loss and mishaps in our neighborhood. And it's been crazy. But of course, learning how to be a community leader, I'm growing with them as long as they're growing with me. And to get those quality members, or just to interact, because people are just staying off to themselves. They don't want to react. They don't want to do anything because of the past. It's kind of hard to get over the past, but we got to get over the past to create a better future. We have to get out of that mindset. We have to come together and collaborate so that we can to thrive together, and to instill that into a lot of people who's used to isolating themselves. That's been a challenge for me.
Yeah.
So opening up to people to gather, and let's do this together, let's work together, because there's power in numbers. It's power in numbers, and they got to understand that. But we've all became separated. Like I said, I knew nothing of a neighborhood association. I knew nothing of nothing. So learning and growing with all these different organizations has been a blessing to me and a blessing to my residents here. And I appreciate that. Y'all can continue on the good work. Please do, because this has been a truly blessing. Yes, it has.
You have done so much in such a short time, and I
thank you.
you really, it's so inspiring. And I know you can also find out more about the Holmes Garden Neighborhood Association on the Center for Neighborhoods website too, with UMKC. So that's and speaking of power in numbers, I don't know if you've met Ike Graham yet from the Vineyard Neighborhood Association, but I mean, I'm sure you guys could exchange a lot of notes. And Ike, as I said, Ike's been working with us for 8 or 9 years, if not more. Ike, again, I don't mean to just put you on the spot, but if you care to share any reactions or just some of the your own experiences based on what Sharon was sharing with us about voter education, civic engagement. I mean, and just maybe a few takes on what Denise was just sharing about the challenges and opportunities involved in neighborhood leadership.
Okay, hello. You always say that you don't want to put me on the spot,
but I do.
Yeah, but Denise, you're in the right place. Please stay here because it is a whole lot of information and a whole lot of help. And Ms. Brooks, I did take a picture of your contact information, because I would like for you to come to our meeting on the 25th of this month at 6 p.m. and do that presentation for the people.
Okay, March 25th at 6 p.m.
Yes, ma'am. You know where we are, right?
Guys, you know I know.
Yep.
You know I know. I would check my calendar and see. Wendy, could you put my contact sheet back up, please?
Give me just a moment. I think I closed it, but I'll find it and put it back up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but yeah, we have speakers come out. We have from the school board, and matter of fact, Miss Ford's supposed to come that same Tuesday. Okay,
it's a Tuesday.
But not only this, we work with the library online. Megan McNaughton is doing computer classes here again. We just started back this month. We was off for the winter, but she's doing a fantastic job. The people here just love her. And like I was telling Miss Denise, you can get a whole lot of help here. So this will be the place to stay.
That's great. Thanks, Ike. And I know that we do have 2 additional speakers left for this meeting. So we'll hear more from what's happening both in Johnson County and with the city of Kansas City, Missouri. But I couldn't help but cut in and give both of you a chance to say hello to everybody. You both do courageous work at the neighborhood level, but it really is a great tribute to the kind of work that Sharon was describing, the help that we get from the library and the way it ties into the work that our local governments do. So thanks to both of you for speaking up. And Wendy, I'll hand back to you to get our next speakers.
Yeah, before you go, I would like to ask Miss Denise if she would put her contact information in the chat, and I'll put mine in there for her.
That's great.
I sure will.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. So great to see these connections being made in real time, right during our meetings. I love it. And thank you all very much. And thank you, of course, to Sharon, for your presentation and your time today. We're gonna kind of a little bit switch gears now and speak with some representatives, of our government who are kind of on the flip side of things. And, it's important to get information and be able to engage in, just basic community services and just receive general information about our communities. And so, we're fortunate to have some really great services from our counties and some of our municipalities. And so next up, we have Gerard McConaughey from over in Johnson County to talk about his emergency services notification. And let me stop sharing my screen and hand it on over to you, Gerard.
Yeah, thank you. I am the system administrator for a mass notification system, which utilizes the Everbridge online platform, where we communicate with hopefully all businesses and residents in Johnson County. Currently about 815,000 or so. And our challenge is trying to communicate across all medians. Like for people with disabilities and whatnot with the deaf services. And so we're trying to spread emergency messages and non-emergency messages from our city partners and our county, larger regional, when we have emergencies like that. So let me see if I can share my screen. So the way that looks, because of most of the system is, all right, can you see all that? Okay. So it's a GIS-based mass notification tool. Each one of the dots represents 1 or 100 or more contacts at a different geographic point in the county. And we use the system, that's my cat. We use the system to communicate with those citizens when we have localized events, either as festivals or emergencies or catastrophic incidents. So we have 18 different municipal jurisdictions that participate with the system. And we've got a steering committee, and then we have different consumer and community service groups that provide input as to the governance and how we roll out and address media to do outreach with different citizens. So that way, no matter who you are, you have the ability to receive communications when it counts. But that's the program one of 3 that I oversee. But that's it in a nutshell. Any questions?
Gerard, how do you make?
Can you hear me? I can't.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gerard, this is Tom.
Go
How
ahead.
do you make information about your systems available to members of the public? And do you require regular input and communication with residents?
So that's a challenge because when you look at the map here, right, you're seeing 3 distinctly different types of colors on the dots, right? You see green dots, and that's a resident, and that's you see red dots, and that's a business. Now, both the residents and businesses are macro collected data that we buy that's aggregated from publicly available sources. So I think we spend about $20,000 a year to buy this publicly available data. So those people that are on the map with those 2 colors, they have no clue that they're in the system. So most of them are not too happy to be getting calls. But if it's an emergency, as a government entity, we're going to make those calls anyways. But the important color on here is the opt-ins. And the opt-ins, we have basically a portal that they go through that we publicize, notifyjoco.org. We partnered with Water One to do a lot of our media dissemination for that because they have a pretty good swath of people that are already customers. So we partner with them, and then we have a steering or a media focus committee that utilizes our annual budget to promote. So we'll do movie theater advertisements, we'll do, You know, at different events and festivals, you might see Miles the Martian. He's a little mascot. And so we try and push it out however we can. But to be honest, we have maybe a little less than 100,000 people that have voluntarily opted in. So out of that 810,000, a vast majority of them, they're not too aware of the program. And every year we gain a little bit more traction in that, but it is a challenge.
I can imagine it is a challenge, which is exactly why you know, we invited you to join us today, because I feel like these communication streams are just so vital. I know as a KC Mo resident, I really appreciate Alert KC's notifications, but having encountered that service, you know, just being available just by browsing the website, you know, it got me thinking about, well, how do people even know that this service is here? And, you know, I can imagine it's a challenge, especially if we're trying to rely on websites and even promotions through social media. You know, not everybody has those connections. And so I think it is really critical to kind of try the grassroots and the other ways, like community events, like you said. So I can
Well,
see that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the kind of the carrot and the stick. And one of the sticks that I like annually is we do an annual test of the system. So that's where we call everyone and we say it's a test. And that always gets a lot of good, well, feedback, right? So it has a positive bump in our numbers with people signing up every year, no matter how many complaints we get. And then emergency management, we say that disasters are all disasters are good business, so to speak, because it raises people's awareness and brings it to the forefront. And because a lot of people look at emergency management and what we do with our community partners as kind of an insurance program that you hope you never have to use. But with events, especially like if you have a airliner crash or a tornado or a larger regional event, it reminds people why it's important to actively participate in their civic communication, especially when it comes to emergencies. So we make the best of bad situations and gain a little ground. Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions or anything to add? All right, well, thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
Yep,
It was very informative to join you. Thank you.
great, thank you. And with that, we'll move on to our final presentation for the day, which is Jerry Buckman and team over at the City of Kansas City, Missouri. I think, yeah, we're all set. Floor is yours, Jerry. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. So, you know, a lot of, as others have mentioned, a lot of good information put out there today. And yeah, so we want both Greg and Gerald both gave some real good information, and it's kind of a lead into what we're going to be talking about as well. Greg spoke about the toolbox, the technology toolbox for folks that we service or this group services, and Gerald spoke about the emergency situation on the Kansas side. I am so appreciative of being joined by a couple of the coordinators here at Kansas City, Ms. Heather Pearson, who is the emergency communications coordinator for the city, and she's going to kind of talk about Kansas City's Alert KC. And then following that, we'll talk with Kelly, who we met a little bit earlier, who is the Sustainable Communities Coordinator for the city, to talk about the speakeasy application. So Heather, the floor is yours.
All righty. Thank you, Jerry. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Appreciate you guys having me. I'm going to share my screen as well. And what I do for the Office of Emergency Management is anytime we activate the center for a special event or for weather or any event going on that we may need to communicate with residents in our city, I send out emergency communications for that. So we always encourage our residents to sign up for, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see my screen. I'm sorry. Let's see. We always want to make sure that you guys sign up for our, the residents sign up for the emergency alerts, and we call that Alert KC. So let me get to the website here. All right, you guys should be seeing our kcmo.gov. Are you all seeing that okay? All right. So the first thing we do is that we encourage residents to go to Alert KC. And this is our page for, say for instance, there's an emergency in the city and we need to tell residents there might be a gas leak or something like that. We can send emergency messages through our system called Everbridge, but the residents will only be able to see those messages if they sign up for Alert KC. So this is the sign-in page here. If you go to everbridge.net, and you don't have to do the login. If you just do everbridge.net, this page will pop up, or you can just go to our website, like I said, and search Alert KC. But here, you would, if you don't have an account, you would create an account. And I'm just going to see if I can create an account just using just a fake name, but I'm going to see if it lets me use my personal address. This is for residents. So you put in your information here and your username. We're going to say KCMO test. See if that works. We're just going to do a password here. KCMO test. Let's make it 4 exclamation. And then it's going to ask you, what is the town of your birth? We're just going to say Kansas City. That's just a login security question. And you're going to put your address here, 414. We're going to put the city's address, but the resident will put their address in. Kansas City, Missouri. And then it'll verify the address. It'll show you where you've entered. And you select, this is my location. And for the email address, I'm going to see if I can just put my personal email here. And I'm going to create an account. And you also want to put a telephone number in here because you can get the messages to go to your home address and you can get them to go to your cell phone address. So I'm just going to put my cell phone in here to create the account. All right, now on your profile, this is where you can decide what kind of information you would like to receive. You've got all your information here, and then you save that to Everbridge. Ensure that I got all that in. And now this is where you decide the kind of location information. Adding a location is not required to receive alerts, but we will use this location information you provide to inform you about alerts, events taking place in your area. So you can also add different locations. Say, for instance, you want to add your work address, you want to add your home address, or you want to add maybe a resident that you care about, like a mother who may be elderly and you want to be able to check on events in her area. So now you can see here what you want to learn about. Say, for instance, you want to know emergency notifications, or you want health alerts in your area. You want information from KC Water, news releases, or if you want to find out about snow coming in your area. Maybe the trash and recycling schedules might change. I also want to know about weather alerts. So I click that. Wait, let me see. And then I can click what kind of weather alerts I want. Do I want to know about wind, high wind advisories? Do I want to know about flooding in my area? You can click all of those. I want to know about all the flooding, flash warnings and watches, severe weather. And you can also put in like, you can put in don't contact me times, their quiet period. And then you just save and continue. And now you're all signed up. And that way, if you get any alerts that affect this right here, you can get those alerts on your wherever you decided. I put in my phone number, but you can also put in your email. Over here in the corner, you can select which language you would like to receive those alerts in. And you can just see the type of alerts that you will receive. Though so far, most of the alerts that come from Everbridge will be weather alerts, because the city also uses the MyKCMO app to inform residents of city-related services such as trash delays and such. So we also encourage people to sign up for the MyKCMO app, because a lot of people, they get their information on their phone more than sitting at their desktop or at home. So we encourage people to sign up for MyKCMO app as well. And that's all that you do to sign up to receive KC alerts. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
I like this. This was fabulous.
Yes, and we encourage residents to sign up for the alerts, because some of the alerts will come from the National Weather Service. Sometimes the alerts can come from FEMA. It just depends. You can also receive Amber alerts. But anything that affects you as a resident in Kansas City, Missouri, we encourage you to sign up for Alert KC. And we also highly encourage you to put the mobile app on your phone, the MyKCMO app.
Heather, do you keep track of how many enrollments there are, and whether it's going up or down, or further promoting the availability of the KC Alert system?
We can log into Everbridge system as an admin. I can log into it and see how many subscriptions we have. And we can see who signed up for it, their names and their email addresses. And this is all under the Office of Emergency Management. So they have privileges that I don't have, where they can send emergencies regarding the city that are extreme emergencies.
Well, one of the reasons I ask, and Jerry has mentioned, I've done some work with him in the city on kind of compliance for grant programs and things like that. And I'm just curious if, as you do track enrollments and subscriptions, if you ever get prompted, or if you have the wherewithal within the communications department to, do new promotions, or, try to put in more of a push to get more people signed up, or things like that. I'm just curious to what extent you have kind of performance measures that, dictate whether you need to do more awareness building about the service, or whether you think that it's doing well and continues to serve its purposes.
Well, that's a good question. We saw a lot of people interested during the Kansas City, when the Chiefs won the parade. With Everbridge, we can ask people to sign up to subscribe to just an event. Say, for instance, like the Chiefs parade, we told them text KC Parade to 888-777 and receive texts and updates about the parade, shuttles, the road closures. And we had a lot of people subscribe to that for the parade. We saw people wanting to utilize that service. We try to promote it, but I don't know if there's a way to tell if it's growing. I can, all I know is that we can see how many people actually use it. We have a number, but they, people like getting information on their phone. They like it quick, they like it fast, and the Alert KC system and the My KCMO app is how we do that.
And if I can add to that, Tom, that's one of the tasks with the Digital Equity Office is to work closer with Heather and the Emergency Management Office to promote this with to who we service as in this group and the city of Kansas City residents. So yes, that's one of the tasks that we have on our slate. So if there aren't any more questions, one thing, there are, anybody else?
No, sorry, go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, so no, the other thing that I wanted to put out there that I didn't mention is that I'm also thrilled to have a coordinator so they'll see what this group does. So again, I want to thank Heather and Kelly. So if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to let Kelly take over and talk about the Speakeasy application.
Awesome. I am ready. Hi, everybody. Again, I'm Kelly Herman. I sit in the Office of Environmental Quality, and I like to say I'm your sustainable community coordinator out of the Office of Environmental Quality. We've been recently tucked into neighborhoods, and I recently rolled out something called Speakeasy to engage with the public. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that screen real quick and show you what it's all about. All right, so you should be looking at, oh, I need to push share. All right, it looks like I am sharing right now. So I just want to introduce you to Speakeasy, our engagement platform. And I'm going to start here at the city's website, just like Heather did. And I like to show people how to navigate to their resources. So here you are at the city website. You're just going to roll down and you're going to see Speakeasy KC. We want to know what you think. We're going to push more and you will end up at the Speakeasy platform. Here at this Speakeasy platform, it's made by a company called Go Vocal, and they specialize in international association for public participation engagement software. So this platform called Speakeasy, you're initially landing in this place, and you can cruise around by scrolling down. But to take any surveys, this is a survey, engagement, polling, open comment platform, you would want to log in. So I just want to show you what that looks like real quick. I'm going to push log in and you'll see that I've already logged in. I'm going to push sign up to see where it takes me. But to log in, you're going to do your first name, your last name, and email, and you're going to make a password. And then you're going to push continue. And that's the only barrier to entrance. And we need that so that we can talk back to people. We can literally email you updates from surveys and things like that. But just starting at the entry into Speakeasy, I'm going to switch now to my platform. I've logged in. You can see up on the top right, I'm Kelly Herman. I'm going to push my name, and I just want to show you that everybody has settings, and I'm going to push my setting. Let me see if my settings does it. Yeah, and it's kind of like my profile, and everyone can build a profile. And the other thing that we will ask for is your zip code, because as we build the platform, we want to know who's missing. Who do we need to reach out to get engaged? Everything else in this platform, neighborhood, age, race, gender, everything else in this is optional. So I just wanted to tell you that. So to navigate the platform, you're going to go home. And you're going to see this little, what am I doing here blurb, like What are we doing here? We're signing up, we're completing a profile, we're selecting a project to review, and then we provide feedback. And it gives just a little bit about us being committed to engagement. I'm very committed to hearing back from our residents. So as you go down, you'll see the very first project is always the highlighted project. It's the newest project. And right now it's the budget feedback survey. I do want to continue to scroll down that you'll see an informative project that's a video about what priority-based budgeting is. And then you'll see what I onboarded the platform to do, or when I onboarded the platform, you'll see a lot of feedback. I was asking the residents about our climate protection resiliency plan. So you'll see a project here. It tell us how to improve food access, or share with us how we can enhance natural spaces and systems, propose how we could make mobility in KC even better, and share your recommendations to polish the city systems that manage our waste materials. And then there's more. This is what I onboarded the platform with. And it was kind of, it was just kind of onboarding. So it was a bit quiet until the city manager's office and communications published this budget feedback survey. So I'm going to click this just to show you kind of what you're getting into. So the cool thing about Speakeasy is it really lays the groundwork to have background before you're asked for feedback or a survey. And I think it does it in a really beautiful, a beautiful way, a captivating way, because we can make photos and we have little emojis here, but we can inform the residents before we ask for feedback or ask them to take a survey. So here we are in the budget feedback survey, and you'll see this information about what the budget feedback survey is asking, and you can scroll down to see the major components in that survey. You can even see a video here. And then we have the submitted budget is linked, so we can add links. And you'll see that in this project is we had one phase. And I'm going to go back to my other projects that have multiple phases. And you'll see in this phase, we had a survey and it was open till March 5th. And typically you can scroll down too, and you'll see live events, which is another reason why I wanted to onboard Speakeasy for the city, is that I view engagement like learning styles. Some people listen, some people see, some people attend, some people want to just get in and get out and take things. Some people are readers. And so what we're trying to do here at the city is to meet everyone where they're at with multiple ways of engaging with us and giving their feedback. So here and then typically you'll see a button to take the survey. So I'm going to go back to the home, and I'm going to go back to one of my prior projects. This one is food access, but the one I usually like to use the most is mobility. Notice how there's 24 participants. You can see the number of participants. Let's go back up to the budget. So there was 207 participants in this digital platform to receive feedback for our budget. And the window was kind of short. And so I think the more we have the platform, the more we're able to market it, the more feedback we're going to get. So I'm going to go back to mobility, and I just want to show you something other than a survey how we're engaging the public. This is something they call public comment or public ideation. And here is where I'm asking the public to propose how we could make mobility in KC even better. And I give how to give feedback, a little tutorial. Click the button, submit your idea. You can leave comments, photos, and specific locations about your comments. You'll scroll down, you'll read a little bit more, and you'll see the climate protection resiliency plan and our mobility strategies. Then as you scroll down, I want to point out that we had two phases. The first phase was collecting your comments about improving mobility. Now, it is no longer open, but I want to show you that when people post, these are pretty cool. I went in and I respond to every comment and I say, we hear you. So every comment comes in to me as submitted. And then I go in and I push, we hear you. And I read every comment. I'm going to push this one. This one says road speed reduction vision 0. And let's see, the from is propose how we could make mobility in KC even better. And I'm going to scroll down and it looks like the person submitting this did not leave their name. No problem. But I'm going to scroll down and you're going to see my name, Kelly Herman, Sustainable Communities Coordinator, and I respond to every comment. Then I want you to see that this was a space for open dialogue. And I see that this person, Robin, said, I agree. Lowering speed limits could help. And so this person's commenting on the initial comment, and you come down and you see even Patricia commented back to Robin, because when you place a comment in here, open comment, you can say, I want notifications. So you are not only contributing, but you're starting your own dialogue. And anytime someone else comments, you're going to get a ding in your email like, oh, we are live chatting here in public comment space hosted by the city. Okay, so that makes me feel alive and excited about where commenting and transparency and open comment can go. And then I also want to show you that this person also put a location, Pendleton Heights, so they were able to drop a pin on the actual location where they're talking about speed bumps and safe streets. Then I'm going to go up because I want you to see that, remember how I showed you, I think we have like around 27 people participating. Here's 19 comments and people can post photos and people can comment on them. We have thumbs up. We have 3 people adding on. And then there's other ways to search, like all the tags in the comments, like who's talking about school crossing or, anything like that. You can search the comments or you can use the map. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the second phase. So one thing people are trained in, mostly planners are trained in public participation. And I honestly, until I got into this, I never knew it was a trained profession, public participation. It makes sense because actually trained professionals in public participation understand that engagement has phases. So in this platform, we're able to ask a very broad question. Maybe what needs to be improved? And then we can drill down. Now, this is new, so we haven't done it. But in future projects, we're able to drill down. Now, of these suggestions, you can prioritize. Now, of these priorities, how much money do you want to spend on this? And so on and so forth. We can really drill down. So I'm excited about where the future is going to take us with our engagement platform. But I want to show you that what I did with my initial collecting of comments is I summarize the comments so that the public can see like a summary of what everyone shared with us. And I put that here. And then the next phase for me internally is to share the appropriate comments with, let's say, Public Works, or let's say Public Works waste diversion for the waste comments. And in our office, we have a food coordinator. So of course, I'm going to go to the food platform right here, and we're going to go to that follow-up phase. And you're going to see the summary for food. And I'm going to say, hey, take a look at this. This is just the beginning of our engagement about food. And so from the back office and the front office, they are married. So it's all transparent. And I'm going to be sharing the public comments with the departments. And what's really cool, something that happened that it taught me, something really cool that happened is that in mobility, in this public open comment phase, our partners, Bike Walk KC, actually were commenting on public comment. So when our partners, when you know that we're publicly engaging, digitally engaging the public, you can kind of cruise over and say, hey, DEPO-KC, if you want to know more, you can state inside this space, hey, you want to talk to us more about this? I'm Tom from DEPO-KC. Here's my link. Let's talk. So this becomes like this social media digital platform for everyone engaged in maybe the project or in that space to talk to one another. So I'm going to go back to the home and just say right at this very moment, we don't have any live surveys, but I know I'm onboarding. This is brand new to the city. And so all the city professionals are just learning about Speakeasy. And I'm onboarding a lot of planners and public work construction projects right now. So please stay tuned. And I encourage you to register for Speakeasy. You'll register once. And then what you can do is say, I want to be notified whenever things post. And then you'll get a notification to your inbox that a survey or an opportunity for feedback has posted. I just want to keep navigating here and just show you we have 9 published. We have an archive. This was an old kind of a draft, but it does show neighborhood empowerment grant awardees on a map. And then everything we've done is located here so you can cruise through. And please register and stay tuned about what's to come. And with that, I'm happy to take some questions and comments. And before I do that, I wanted to see, how do I stop sharing? Did it already stop sharing?
Still sharing.
Okay.
And I do want to acknowledge that we are over time.
Okay.
I apologize to you, Kelly, and
Yeah.
to everyone else. We have continued to record. I do want to invite everyone, since we're not going to have time or we've run out of time, for community announcements. If you do have anything to share, please email it on over to me and I'll make sure that we get it into our follow-up newsletter for this meeting. And then I did notice and want to bring attention to the chat, because I had the same question about flyers that we could help get the word out, especially here at the library about these services that we've heard about today. Because like I said, personally, they've had a great impact on my life. And I think that we could help with our people in the digital divide that a lot of us are serving, help get the word out and promote these services. But otherwise, I do want to be respectful of everyone's time, and thank you very much for joining us, to all of our presenters today. And yeah, that is it.
And I'll begin with the group. I'm going to work with Kelly and Heather to get that information. I kind of put that in the chat. So yeah, the information is coming.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. And with that, we'll let you go. Enjoy this beautiful weather while we can. Hopefully it's here to stay, but yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.